Did they kill this poor chick? The second one is gonna be just as good as the first. I hope. Oh god. I have a problem with buying books, obviously. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka J&D, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're doing a massive book haul. I haven't done one since Christmas, and I've been accumulating some books. Yes, over 40 books. To spice up this video, something I always do, you may know if you are a regular viewer of mine, I'm going to read the first sentence of every book. The first few things I'm going to mention come from book boxes that were sent to me, so that's why I'm starting with them, because I really appreciate these companies and I really want to give them a huge shout out. Obviously you can skip these if you want, skip ahead or whatever, but I would highly recommend checking out these companies. The first one being the Otaku Noir book box. They help indie black artists like sell comics, so you're supporting artists and it's a great way to diversify your comics, so I highly recommend checking out the book box. I do have a code also, JND, if you would like to support my channel. A lot of things came in that box. I got a t-shirt and a hat, but obviously wanted to shout out these comics, and I especially like this cover on this one. Oh, she looking good. The next two books, one being YA and one being adult. So I recently got the March adult and young adult book boxes. It was for the Unplugged Book Box, which is a box all about self-care, and I'm just so happy that it's one of the first book box companies that like supported me, sent me a book a book box to review, and it just makes me so happy. I'm especially happy for this beautiful book over here. The Conductors by Nicole Gover. This is just one of those anticipated reads I hear so much about. The first few pages are wanted posters, which are really fun. This book is all about, I think, slaves running away, and then I think there's some magic involved. But the first sentence is, when the wagon rolled into view, Hetty took another small step along the tree branch. I like how casual that is, that she's just in a freaking tree hiding. So casual. I love that first sentence. But I highly recommend you checking out the book box. I don't know if their March book boxes are still in stock, but I do recommend you checking them out. And the second book that I got was this, If I Tell You the Truth by Jasmine Carr. I believe that's how you say their name. Probably not, because I'm horrible at that. But this has poetry in it with a narrative voice as well. It's a story between a mother and a daughter. Some stories bury themselves so deep within the flower bed of our mind that the earth trembles, throbs when they're dug out. That is the first page. Very poetic, lyrical. I feel like this book is gonna make you cry and feel lots of feelings, and I'm so here for it. Okay, the first category is YA books that are contemporary, which is probably my favorite, which is probably why there's so many of these books. Okay, let's get into it. So we have All the Things We Never Knew, and let's read the first sentence. Nobody ever warned me about love. So this is a cute book about two basketball players who have a lot of trauma in their personal lives, and this story is very insta-lovey. They fall in love, but it still talks about real stuff, real issues. It's so cute. I highly recommend. The writing style was also phenomenal. Such a fun read, but still like hard-hitting, so it's a really good balance. I highly recommend. And do you see how cute she is? The contemporaries that have been coming out lately, stunning. And the next book I got, because this is something I read from the library many years ago, and I finally got my hands on my own copy, and it is I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter by Erica L. Sanchez. I just remember feeling very connected to this character, and I can't wait to reread it, see if it holds up. What surprised me most about seeing my sister dead is the lingering smirk on her face. What a good first sentence. So this one is about a loss of a sister and realizing that your sister, yourself, your idea of perfection, of being a good person, everything comes into question. Next, we have A Taste for Love, and this book was kindly sent to me, so I really appreciate it. I believe it's Source Books. So excited. This seems to be like a competitive cooking contemporary story, but also I think there's a lot of family dynamic, because the opening sentence is, it is a truth universally acknowledged that a mother in possession of great wisdom must be in want, nay, in need, of a daughter who will listen. So I believe there's going to be some tension between the mother and the main girl character. We'll see. I really want to read it. I think I'm going to have a vlog where I read some more contemporary books because I have just so many, as you saw from my previous stack. Then we have One of the Good Ones. So this is also about a loss of a family member. Let me read you the first sentence. She was mine before she was anyone else's. I feel like this is going to be a really hard-hitting story. I'm obviously going to read it when I'm like emotionally ready for that trauma to be discussed, but I also like reading books about perspectives that are different than what we normally read. This one's going to be talking directly from the family member who have lost someone because of police brutality. I believe that's the idea of the story. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always putting my foot in my mouth, so let me know if I fuck up. Next is a book that I've been so excited about, and that is Love as a Revolution is a Revolution. Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. Renee Watson is a favorite author of mine. You would know if you were a regular viewer of mine. Piecing Me Together is an all-time favorite book. I do love Renee Watson's writing style. I talked about this in a recent vlog that went up, but let me read the first sentence to you. 3 things I want to do this summer. 1, find a new hairstylist. So this is a story about a girl who is finding love with herself and romantically. It is a very fun, cute, contemporary story placed in New York. And I also just love the fact that this is a character who is plus size and still living and enjoying their life. I think it's great that we start to have more characters who represent the world. Like, I also really hope to dive more into stories that talk about disabilities and things like that, and just really diversifying everything, because people come in all shapes and sizes, you know what I mean? I feel like you know what I mean. This next book I actually won on Twitter, and I never win anything, so that's so exciting. And it is Trouble Girls by Julia Lynn Rubin. That was kind of hard to read. This is an arc, but the first sentence is, the diner's full of hogs today. Hogs are men, in case you were wondering. But this is a story about a queer love. I think there's traveling, there's a diner, and I also really appreciate that there's blood on this lady's shirt. Like, what's going on? What's happening? Should I be scared? I'm intrigued. This next book I purchased because it's one of my favorites. Freaking love it. And it's How It Went Down. This is a favorite book of mine because it really changes your perspective of police brutality, or not just police brutality, but like hate crimes and things like that, because a boy is shot and it is the incident, and then the whole rest of the book is everyone's perspective who watched it, knew the boy, all that stuff. So it opens your mind to the fact that we always talk about whether the person who was murdered was a good or bad person, instead of just discussing the fact that they were murdered and whether they lived their life honorably or whatever. They didn't deserve to die, to be quite clear. So it's very interesting. I really like that perspective and how it dives into it. The known facts surrounding the shooting death of 16-year-old Tyreek Johnson are few. And then we dive into that. It's such a good book. I highly recommend it. And this author is really good. She know what she's doing. I got another arc, and that is for Perfect on Paper by Sofia Gonzalez. She was the author of Only Mostly Devastated. I really love that book, so I think they reached out to me. I haven't read it yet, but it's come out. It's supposed to be super cute, and I really want to read it. I just haven't. Again, I need to catch up on my contemporary. So the first sentence is, everyone in school knows about locker 89. The locker on the bottom right at the end of the hall near the science lab. So in this story, it is about a girl who gives love advice through a locker, but I don't think her love life is all that together. This next fun book is Charming as a Verb by Ben Phillip. This story is about kids preparing to go to college, and I hope it's a fun, just flirty, cute romance. You can't have charming in the title of your contemporary and it not actually be a charming book, so I just hope it brings a smile to my face. The first hustle, if you want to call it that, is also the simplest. Smiling. I love it. See, that first sentence is just charming, so I feel like this is going to bring me a lot of joy. Last contemporary book before we move on to the next genre is Color Me In by Natasha Diaz. This book is I want to say all-time favorite, but I've only read it once, so I can't put it on that pedestal yet, but I definitely want to put it on that pedestal. I think it deserves it. So this is a story about a girl who is Jewish and black. She feels oppressed, she feels unheard, but at the same time, she can't, you know, speak for everyone's perspective. She should only speak from her own, balancing how to be active in the community, in the Black community, in any community, without overstepping the boundaries of speaking for others. It's a very interesting story. I definitely cried while reading it. Highly recommend everyone read it. It's just so interesting. The electric hiss, like bees caught in a plastic casing, sends shock waves from the sterile light bulbs in the bathroom of Mont Olverian Baptist Church. I don't know if I said that name right, but it's very vivid. I like that. Very giving me kind of thrillery like vibes of the Baptist Church being like the sterile light bulbs. It's a fun read. I definitely recommend. We have our next stack, which is YA. What's it called? Fantasy. That's the word I was looking for. So the first two we have were kindly sent to me for an Instagram post. So it is A River of Royal Blood and A Queen of Gilded Horns by Amanda Joy. I really want to read these two. I might make a vlog about them. I really enjoyed the first one. I'm really happy. This magical world, I loved it. Two sisters fighting to the death for a throne. Sign me up. That just sounds exciting. The first sentence of A River of Royal Blood is, Asim had never known a spell of hearkening to last this long. But yeah, lots of magic and fighting, and there's a little bit of romance in here, so it's a very cute duology. Well, I still haven't read the second one, but I figure the second one is going to be just as good as the first. I hope. Oh god. Next was a gift, and it is Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Morgana Garcia. To be honest, I don't know much about it. So let's read the first sentence and not mess you up by saying it's about something and I put my foot in my mouth, because I always do that. Some people are born under a lucky star, while others have their misfortune telegraphed by the position of the planets. Ooh. Mine, death god, embarked on a life-changing journey. Okay, inspired by Mexican folklore. So it just sounds enrapturing, and it also has great reviews. The next book we have here is Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson. This is a story about a guy who gets a like organ transplant and like ends up getting magical powers, which is just like really cool, but at the same time I would never want to have to go through an organ transplant of any kind. So on December 22, 2020, that's so hard to say, a boy just shy of 22 was hit by a drunk driver at 3:15 p.m. right outside of Boston, Massachusetts. Aren't you excited to pick this up? This next book, The Gilded Ones, if you have been watching my vlogs, you know I've been reading this. I still have like 70 pages left. I could just finish it, and I haven't yet, and I'm just like, why do I do this to myself? But it is an awesome story about girls and demons and magic and monster slaying. It's really cool. I really like it. Today is the ritual of purity. So when you're pure, you bleed red blood. If you're a demon, you bleed gold blood. So be scared. The last YA fantasy I have is Daughters of Jubilation. I honestly don't recall exactly what this is about. In the Jim Crow South, white supremacy reigns. Gift passed down through generations of Black women since the time of slavery. So magic is passed down through this family. Here's the thing about me. I ain't normal. I just love that. So much sass. I'm just like, yes. Yes, queen. Yes. That is the last YA fantasy. And now let's dive into some adult fiction. What adult fiction? Who am I? Okay, so the first few adult books that I have here are more so dark academia, fiction. I don't know if this is considered YA or adult. I'll start with this one because I pulled it out first. Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Everyone and their freaking mother and their freaking dog and their freaking friends are talking about this, and I want to get on that level. I want to understand the hype. I want to love it. And I have a good feeling about this. University setting, magical powers. What's there not to love? The police officer's body was blurry, then sharpened again. What happened? I'm nervous. Oh god. Okay. Well, I'm very excited for this. This might be classified as YA, but I know she's in college, so I'm classifying it as adult. This next book, The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I'm so excited. Dark academia, there's murders, there's mysteries, there's students, there's teachers. We just love. The snow in the mountains was melting, and Bunny had been dead for several weeks before we came to understand the gravity of our situation. Did they kill this poor chick? That's nuts. But I'm really excited to read this. I know this is Jamie's favorite book. Jamie is a booktuber that I watch often, so I'm definitely excited to dive more into that. Especially the dark academia genre, especially if they're reading Ninth House. It was my jam, so I need to find more books that jam that. You know what I mean? Probably not, I'm sorry. The next book is A Little Life. So this book is an all-time booktube favorite. Like, I don't know. 4 dudes in college and people are obsessed and constantly have videos of them crying about it. So, I don't cry often, so we'll see what happens. The 11th apartment had only 1 closet, but it did have a sliding glass door that opened onto the small balcony from which he could see a man sitting across the way, outdoors in only a t-shirt and shorts, even though it's October, smoking. And also I'm excited because one of the dudes is an actor, so I'm excited to see that, and in New York. What a cool perspective. So I'm really excited to read this. Hopefully I have a magical moment of crying and emotion and attachment, so we'll see. Okay, 2 more books to talk about. I have The Furries by Katie Lowe. This is another dark academia book, murder, mystery, but this one's only like 300 pages, which is kind of like short for a dark academia. The first sentence is, "The strange thing," they said, wringing their hands and whispering as though we couldn't hear or weren't listening through the extension phones or cracks in the walls, was that there was no known cause of death. Dun dun dun! Like, yeah, I hear that automatically, like that noise from SVU or Law & Order where it's like, dun dun! The next thing, I think this is just classified as adult fiction, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone. So, I honestly don't know too much about this besides that it's an adult fiction that's recommended by most people. So, I'm excited. I heard it's a trippy book, so I'm hoping it's like everything I want. The first sentence is, "When red wins, she stands alone." Dun dun! No murder, but it still has that suspenseful dun dun feeling, so I had to say it. Those are all my kind of adult fiction books. I do have more adult books coming though. I have classics, I have non-fiction, and I have middle grade, so stay tuned. Okay, this next stack is a little random. I have classics, romance, and 1 science fiction. So, starting off with the first little science fiction book. It's so cute. So this is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. I don't do names. I don't know how many times I have to say that, so don't expect me to know how to read these names. I can read, but like names, they're just... This book really interests me because of the back. Let me read it to you. Foundation. For 12,000 years, the Galactic Empire has ruled supreme. Now it's dying. Only Harry Seldon, creator of the revolutionary science of psychohistory, can see into the future, a dark age of ignorance, barbarianism, and warfare that will last 30,000 years. To preserve knowledge and save mankind, Seldon gathers the best minds in the Empire, both scientists and scholars, and brings them to the bleak planet at the edge of the galaxy to serve as a beacon of hope for future generations. He calls this sanctuary the Foundation. It's so dramatic and it just sounds so fun. I've been reading Dune and I just really want to get more into science fiction, and this is one of those books that everyone recommends. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun time. The next 2 books were gifted to me by a dear friend, and they are romance books. So one is The Cowboy's Claim, and this one is about an actor getting her dream role. It was perfect riding weather in Tilbridge Horse Stable. But yeah, they're at a stable, romance ensues. It just seems very cute, and I really love romance to read, especially in between hard and heavy books. So glad I have some romance books to lean on. This next one is Pursuit of the Truth by Katie Richards. So this one is, his skills can keep her safe, her secrets could get them killed. That just sounds like so much fun. Goosebumps tingled over Nadia Shelton's arms and neck as she as she exited her apartment building. I wonder what she's excited about. Oh. Now, moving on to classics. I have been wanting to get more into classics, and I'm very excited. Most of these classics are very well known, but I haven't read them because in high school I was a stupid biatch and I didn't read my assigned books. So, oops. But I'm fixing it now, so it's okay. The first one is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. The first sentence is a quote. "What you looking at me for? I didn't come to stay." That's the quote. And the first sentence after that is, "I hadn't so much forgot as I couldn't bring myself to remember." I know this is a hard-hitting book, very sad for the most part, but again, I want to diversify my reads. I just really want to dive more into some well-renowned literature. Be a little bit of an adult. Ooh. Next one is James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. Have no idea what this is about, but it is the best reviewed of James Baldwin's work, and obviously if I like his writing style, I'm gonna buy more books of his because I have a problem with buying books, obviously. Everyone had always said that John would be a preacher when he grew up, just like his father. Really hoping that he's gay and that's why he's not a preacher. We'll see. I don't know. The next book is massive, and that is Don Quixote, and this one is dense, but I've heard great things about it. It is supposed to be a really, really, really fun classic. Okay, prologue. This is probably going to be a very long sentence. Idle reader, I don't have to swear any oaths to persuade you that I should like this book, since it is the son of my brain, to be the most beautiful, elegant, and intelligent book imaginable. That's cute. A little cute prologue. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. This would be my first Toni Morrison book. I know. It's a crime. I haven't read any of her work yet, but I'm working on it. I also know this one is very sad, so I'm gonna mentally prepare myself for that. Okay, it appears the first sentence is, "Here's the house," which is interesting, but what I like about some of these classics and some that I've already read is that the idea is that they're not super flowery. They're more so just straight to the point and really raw in their emotions and to the characters. So I kind of like that first sentence. I think it's very telling of the writing style. This next book I have been reading for the last few weeks, and that is A Brave New World. I also recently read Animal Farm and Native Son, but I already own those books, so that's why I'm saying I want to get more into classics. What a great sci-fi. I really love the concept. So Brave New World is a world not too far from our world where we clone people, take people, and train them by birth to be in a class. So classism. So we train them to be either an alpha, beta, omega, yada yada. And you're brainwashed from birth and you don't have parents, and it's a really wild time. A squat gray building of only 34 stories. That's not a wild first sentence, but I guess it's very telling to the writing style of this book. The last classic I got was Kindred by Octavia Butler. Also haven't read any of her works, and I'm gonna fix that. This one is more so speculative fiction, I believe, because it's about a woman who gets, possibly a couple, but I only recall the woman getting sucked into the past back into slavery times, and as a black person, that's very dangerous. The trouble began long before June 9th, 1976, when I became aware of it, but June 9 is the day I remember. Shoot. Ooh. I also know that she loses her arm, I think. It's crazy. Okay, last two books. We have Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Read this book. Phenomenal. I'm sitting in the principal's office again. This book is all about a girl whose brother goes missing, and she goes out to search for him and realizes there's this whole secret world of magical creatures and magic use next door. Last but not least, Hollowpox. The Hunt for Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is the third book of the series. I heard it's going to be a 9-book series, which is so exciting. I think this book is actually about a pandemic and ignorance. Very timely. On a glossy black door inside a well-lit wardrobe, a tiny circle of gold pulsed with light, and at its center was a small glowing W. Okay, that first sentence wasn't spoilery, but this is about a girl named Morgan Crow. I almost said Jessica Crow because of Jessica Townsend. Morgan Crow was cursed at birth and apparently brings bad luck to a lot of people in her city, and she was supposed to die on her 11th birthday. But she was swept away to this other magical world. Oh my god, that was everything. Literally, I've been filming forever, so I'm so excited. What book do you think I immediately have to read? Comment down below, and also comment down below this emoji so I know you're the real MVP and that you stayed to the very end of this video, which means so much. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel. If you want bonus content, maybe check out my Patreon. I have tons of bonus videos on there, but again, that costs money, so you don't have to if you don't want to. But yeah, I really appreciate you, and I hope this video gave you a little bit more sunshine or entertainment, and I will see you in the next one.